Do you want to become a professional Bloxburg builder? Lucky for you, I have everything you need in this video. Let's get started. The first thing I want you guys to do is make sure that you don't use flat walls whenever you're designing your exterior. Make sure to give your house some shape so that way it'll make your house look better and not like a box. I tend to set my server time to 7 AM, and so I will set my house up here in this plot into where I can use the sun to light up most of the rooms in my house, so I don't have to use that many lights, which then leads to less expensive builds. This also helps make your house look more realistic, so if you have your graphics on max, I'd highly recommend doing this. I mean, it works out insanely well. It works out well for the landscaping too on the outside. Helps you get way better pictures of your house. The third tip I have for you guys is landscape to cover up bad spots in your house. As you can see in this corner, I wasn't too happy with it, so I put a bunch of big trees here so not many people can see that corner, what it looks like whenever you're looking at the house from afar. Same thing with that corner over there. I just use big trees and I'll tend to landscape around said trees, but if I have like a bunch of really flat walls or something, or the walls don't look that good, I will just do some landscaping so people just can't see it in the images that I post. It helps out a ton because whenever people are looking at your builds, you obviously don't want them to see your worst part of the build, you want them to see the best part, and so I try to keep all the attention focused towards the centerpiece right here. The next tip I have for you guys is add variation in your landscaping. As you guys can see, I try to use almost every single landscaping item in the entire game. I use so many different kinds of items and it makes the landscaping look a lot better. And so I'll pick out maybe close to 7 or 8 items that I want on my plot, and I'll just keep spamming them around and having them in circles like this, to where I try to get one of each item in a little clutter area. And yeah, that's what I will do. If you resize the same kind of bush too, that kind of helps too. Like as you can see, I recolored and resized it, and it's just the exact same bush right here. So as long as you guys are adding variation in your landscaping, that is a huge tip that I can give you guys to make better landscapes for your exteriors to become better. Make your house poke out in certain spots to give it more shape, because more shape, in my opinion, is better. You obviously can go overboard with the shape, so please try to restrain yourself from doing that. But it helps me out a ton, because I mean, whenever I have, like, if I just didn't have this balcony here, this would probably look extremely awful. This window does not match these windows at all. And then speaking of windows, the next tip I have for you guys is make your own windows. This is a regular window that I just added in with structurals. Very simple design. You guys can just use structural beams and make your own windows just like that. That's all you have to do to make your windows look a lot better, because some of the in-game windows are not the best, but if you want a specific window design, you can just make it out of structural beams. I tend to use a thin square beam, and it works out well for me. The next tip I have for you guys is don't make your interior rooms too big. Make it the perfect size so you can place whatever items you want. I try to keep my rooms maybe the size of this for my kitchens and all that stuff, so that way I can add enough detail in without making it feel too cluttered. I also like to have enough walking space in my interior, so that way people can walk through without having to run into something every single second. As you can see in this room, it's not that big, but it has a lot of detail in it, and it still can look very good without having to make the room massive. You can have a lot of stuff in your room, and don't be afraid to add in clutter. Speaking of clutter, a good example of my kind of clutter is rocks around a pond, and so as you can see, I use many different sizes of rocks here and many different colors. It adds in a whole different look to the pond, and it makes it look a lot better than just surrounding it with a fence. So if you're adding in a bunch of clutter, make sure you resize them to be different sizes so they all aren't the same, because it gets a little bit boring and repetitive if you have the same sized rocks. Now, if you ever want to post your builds, make sure you have one good angle of the house that you want everyone to see. Whenever I post a teaser, I try to get one good spot from the house, and for this one, it was this angle right here, and I will align this plot here perfectly with the sun, so that way this side of the house is bright and you can see everything around it, compared to if I'm trying to post a picture of like right here. As you can see, it's not really showing off the entire build, and so I want you to be able to see almost everything on this build without giving it all away, so that way it forces people to kind of click on and be like, oh, I want to see more about what's in this build. So as you can see here, there's an ocean, you got the dock and all that stuff, and if I zoom out just a little bit more, you can see that there's like a pool and like a decoration area over to the right and stuff. But just having one big image that's really good, if you focus on making this image look good, it's going to make more people click on and then be like, oh, what else does this build have, or whatever. It helps out a ton if you're ever trying to get big on social media, so just try it, I guess. Experiment around with it, because it took me a while to learn how to take photos as well. Don't take photos like from really far away when it's like snowy or something, but that's just stuff you'll learn over time. The final tip I have for you guys is use custom items, because whenever you're using custom designs and once you learn how to make it, it teaches you the tool. And so once you know how to use the tool, you can make your own custom designs. And I want to see more innovation in this community. I want to see more people making more custom designs, because it's so fun to see what people come up with. I have so many tutorials on my channel if you want to learn how to make some custom stuff, going all the way way from landscaping to custom roofs. So go through and check them out if you want to learn how to make some custom stuff. Anyways guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Goodbye everybody.